Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. This session focuses on linguistic imperialism. I hope and expect by the end of the session you would be able to have some grasp over the concept. Well, my dear students, I hope you understand the important role that English language is playing in today's world. The kind of global spread of English over the recent times has changed the whole socio-economic and power dimensions of the world. And in certain ways, there are certain claims that are made by linguists and sociolinguists that English language is playing a role in creating deviance and in creating inequalities in the world. This process of creating inequalities in the world, Philipson 1988 refers to it as linguicism. So, linguistic imperialism, he has termed it as linguicism. I am quoting him here. If you look at the screen, you can see the detailed definition that he has given of this linguistic imperialism. According to him, the ideologies and structures which are used to legitimate, effectuate and reproduce an unequal division of power and resources, both material and non-material, between groups which are defined on the basis of their language, that is, of their mother tongue. So, there are certain factors that are important in this definition. The first, aspect that is important is that it is a process of legitimizing, making it effective, and reproducing what we call deviance or inequalities amongst nations on the basis of language. The second, aspect of this definition that is important is that this inequality of deviance or inequality of power that linguistic imperialism creates is both in terms of material as well as non-material aspects of human social life. And, the third aspect that is related to it is the notion of mother tongue. The areas where English is used as a mother tongue and the areas where it is not used as a mother tongue. I would like to share another significant definition of linguistic imperialism with you, which says linguistic imperialism is an essential constituent of imperialism as a global phenomenon involving structural relations between rich and poor countries in a world characterized by inequality and injustice. Now, what is significant about this definition is that this makes linguistic imperialism a part of imperialism otherwise. So, linguistic imperialism being a part of this totality of the phenomena of imperialism plays its roles in creating, kind of power structures where one is powerful and the other is powerless. According to Philipson 1992, imperialism is a type of relationship whereby one society or, collective in more general terms can dominate another. Any kind of collective group of people, society or a nation or a state, according to this definition, can dominate another through the processes of imperialism. And there are varieties of ways, there are varieties of processes that are involved in that, economically, politically, from the military perspective, and also culturally, this can take place. For Galtung, the world can be divided into two major divisions or two main domains. The center, that is the powerful Western countries, and the periphery. So, the center, according to him, is all the Western powerful countries, and the periphery is all the developing ones, all the developing countries. And, if from this perspective we look at the idea of imperialism and then linguistic imperialism, the center, that is the developed countries, they are imposing this imperialism, they are exercising this imperialism, including linguistic imperialism. And in fact, language is one of the major ways through which this center is implementing, its policies and, is regulating this whole, periphery, all the developing countries. So, linguistic imperialism plays a crucial function by providing a kind of division and distinction between the dominant and the dominated groups, and by linking them in certain kinds of positions. And linguistic imperialism is more like, a notion that is built around these, binary divisions of powerful and powerless, of, knowledgeable and less knowledgeable, or, more, strong and, weak, etc. These binary divisions are, all those, aspects of the relationships of these two, the center and the periphery, that are created through linguistic imperialism. Phillips in 1992 asserts that the legitimization of English linguistic expansion has been based on two notions, or it is done in two ways. One is through ethnocentricity, and the other is through educational policies. Now, what does this ethnocentricity mean? It means the practice of judging other cultures by standards of its own. Even if you look at your own world, if you look at your own communities of, practices and all that, you would easily understand that doing things the way the West do them, performing language the way the West performs them, doing cultural, political, social, practices the way this centralized, powerful West does them, is considered to be, more superior. Why? Because West has, this powerful West has imperialized, I would say, the world in such a way that they have not only they themselves look at the practices of others in relation to their own practices. The validity of practices is judged through the criteria of their own culture, their own values, their own norms, their own ways of doing things. But also, this is what they have inculcated through language and through cultural dominance in other cultures as well. So, these two practices, that is one through ethnocentricity and the other through educational policies, even if we look at the educational policies of Pakistan, they still are, carrying forward the traditions of the colonial experience. So these two practices, in fact, they are used to impose distinction between languages. The rift between Urdu and the languages that are used regionally in Pakistan on one side and English on the other side, I think this is one of the examples of this, distinction that is made in languages. According to Burns and Coffiner, the extent to which English is involved in the political, educational, social, and economic life of a country is clearly a result of both the historical legacy and, alongside this historical, context, the lack of resistance, according to them, that is shown to the new processes of this new colonialism, through which, the West is imposing this imperialism on the rest of the world. According to them, the use of English in the whole world is a reflection of that the states and the nations and the people in the world have been unable to resist properly against this process of imperialism that is taking place in general, and the linguistic imperialism in specific.